Hello and welcome to Clockwork Dandy Noodles, the channel for anime and all things noodle related. Hello and welcome one last time to the breakdown for Golden Kamuy season 3. And what an amazing last episode it was. First things first, my winter 2021 video is now up on the channel. You guys can see what 3 anime were crowned the top 3 of fall 2020. What anime is wearing the crown as king. Follow that video to find out what animes I will be taking across and breaking down next season, because this channel isn't going to stop. This channel is now going to be unstoppable. I have completed my second season of breaking down anime now, and it's a little personal milestone for me, so I'm very proud of myself. And I'm so happy that I got the opportunity to talk about this anime in particular. So there is a Discord if you want to go ahead, lurk on there. You get to see when there's delays. So there is a delay coming out on Ikubukuro's video. So if you are watching that one as well, check out the information. It will be a few hours late. So bear with me as I am working a late shift. It's a great place for you to lurk, get information whenever videos go up on my channel, as we enter no man's land before winter starts up. So there will be a few random videos going up on the channel. So make sure you are subscribed for that. So guys, I think we should move on into the final episode, the finale of season 3. Now, it didn't let me down. I was wondering how the season would end. Wow, it is one big one. And of course, it had a few last punches to throw our way. And there was indeed a confirmed death. And I'll talk about that death when we get there. But I had a list. So obviously, naturally, you go into a season and you're like, I think these people could possibly die. I did it a lot of Game of Thrones. I was like, maybe these guys? I had a little list of people I thought who would die this episode. Let's begin with the episode 12, To Live, which is quite the ironic title, but also quite nice. We open back with our trio, and Tsukamoto has a wounded Ogata over his shoulder. That is when we finally get the words from season 2's finale spoken. So it's a bit of a loop here. We finally get information given to us from that final episode, given to Asurupa finally, where Tsukamoto confirms that it was indeed Ogata who shot him at the prison. It was Kiro who signalled the shooting of Wilk. So that is our biggest question now, is why did Kiro shoot Wilk? If we also remember that Inkimet did try to talk to Kiro when he stabbed her, he said that Wilk had changed. He also was supposed to tell the old comrades about the gold's location. So there's a lot of unanswered questions, even going out, which is what we want. As much as people don't like unanswered questions, I look at them as, if the anime hasn't fully covered something, it's always a way for it to come back in the future for another series. So I always try to take a nice positive approach to the fact that we've got a lot of unanswered questions, and I believe that the anime will eventually get round to tying them up nicely, because there are a few things that get put to rest this episode, literally and figuratively. I really enjoyed this week's episode, even though it wasn't as fast-paced as last week's episode. That we do also recall the moment this season where Sophia slapped Kiro on immediately seeing him, and she says, "What did you do to Wilk?" So Sophia may have only very briefly been introduced to us this season, but I think she's going to have some very big importance for season 4. It's just the fact that she does escape and she ends up back with her men, and she kind of vanishes at the end of this bit anyway. She is definitely going to have some importance. She was actually holding down a fort whilst the guys all spread out to do things. She ends up on an ice sheet which breaks away from where Kiro is. All she can really do is watch Kiro and Koito fight. Obviously, I was very nervous for Koito, even though I'm not a big Koito fan, but I was worried for him. We go into these episodes with a list of people who you think might kick the bucket, especially in this kind of anime. Koito was quite high. I moved him up a little bit last week because I did believe that he could die, and he almost did. And there was almost a bit where I felt sad, only because he was so excited to see Leaky Brain, and I think that's what triggered a few little emotions. So where our OP would have originally played, we go back to Koito turning the blade in Kiro's chest and re-stabbing Kiro in the neck. We would have had him stab him in the neck, and that's where the credits would have rolled. But this week, as it's the final episode, we do not get our open. But what an open it has been. It's not my favourite. My favourite open is definitely Winding Road by Man with a Mission. I am a big Man with a Mission fan. We see Kiro removing that blade and then pushing down on the blade that is in Koito's arm. I am very shocked that Koito even has the use of his arm, let's just say that. I was almost expecting that we'd get an episode with Koito getting a prosthetic arm from Leaky Brain, because we've had a few of those now where Leaky Brain presents Nikaido with these prosthetics. I almost thought that we'd get that with Koito. I think he still has his arm at the end of this, so he sadly won't get that moment with Leaky Brain. It's very, very tense because I did think Koito was about to hit the bucket. Koito, again, a bit later on, he ends up at the end of the barrel and he almost dies. And I think he's only saved by Shiraishi's big mouth. Koito, this episode, if you were definitely putting bookie bets on things, Koito would have been quite high up in the characters who may die. Moments before the blade gets pushed further into his chest, Tanigaki and Tsukizuma finally arrive and shoot Kiro. They end up saving Koito's life, but Kiro isn't gonna go down without the last laugh. He really did turn into explosive Kiro. I would love to know where he stores these explosives. He throws yet another explosive towards Koito. Koito, man. Everyone wants to hurt Koito this episode. Koito is just OP. I think I found a bit of newfound respect for Koito, where he slices open the grenade in the air. Leaky Brain would just be so proud. That's a reunion I'm actually looking forward to seeing. And I was literally screaming at the screen just going, would somebody bloody kill Kiro? And also, I feel bad because a few of you said that you really like him. I just didn't. And I was getting more and more stressed because he was putting holes in all my boys. When he tried to hit Koito with his explosives, I had this newfound respect for him. I was just like, no, just end him now. But before they can shoot him, Team Asmoto, yes, I'm calling him Asmoto because it's a Sirpa / Sugimoto. New team, guys. New team name. They arrive to stop him. But Asirpa needs to ask Kiro something. But that's when we see Kiro's telling Asirpa, you need to run. And the entire scene is being overlooked by Sophia. Sophia kind of just having to bear witness and be unable to do anything, which is quite sad. We do see that she is affected by everything, and she kind of figured out the ending of this sequence before I did. She ends up breaking a hole in the ice to just let it all out, scream underwater so she cannot be heard. I did feel a little emotional at this sequence, but not as emotional as it would have been if it was someone else sitting in that spot. Asirpa tells Kiro that she has remembered, which I guess that allows him to die happily. He knows that his journey was not worthless. He's fulfilled something. He's fulfilled a goal. Also quite sad because as he is on his last moments and he's seeing the flashback of this season and what the other team got up to, there's a scene with Ogata sitting naked in the banya. Why did I not see that scene? That scene looks fun. That scene looks so good. Shiraishi, what is Shiraishi doing in this sequence? And I love the fact that you've just got Asirpa peering into the madness of these guys just sat naked. It's sad that it's just on his way out. That's one of the last things that he's going to see before he hits the afterlife. Kiro says, I'm going to leave it to you now, where his images start to blur out. I love the fact that they just show it all blurring. He says, go with Sophia. And that is his last word. His last word is Sophia. Sophia is the person he sees before he dies. Wondering if maybe he had a little thing for Sophia, but obviously Sophia had a thing for Wilk. So a little bit of a broken love triangle there, which is quite sad. And yes, he dies before Asirpa has a chance to ask him, did you kill Wilk? It wasn't who I thought it would be. I had, on the top of the list, I had Ogata, Koito quite high up. I also kind of thought that Tanigaki would die. I don't know why. I had a feeling that Tanigaki might be the one to hit the bucket this episode. So I think they were my main three. And Kiro was a little bit lower just because of the fact that we've seen him slip out of so many situations so far. And I kind of felt like he had a bit more to give. We do see him dying and he takes secrets to the grave. So he's taken a few secrets to the grave and we don't have those answers. So he knows stuff, but we don't know. Something about him, something happened between him and Wilk, definitely. And we just don't know anymore. We don't know who betrayed the Ainu. Was it him? It's quite nice. We get a moment where Shiraishi starts to bury Kiro in the ice. And it's that nice little sequence where he says, the ice is going to melt, so Kiro will eventually rest in the waters of his homeland. And we do get that nice sequence of Kiro sitting in a boat looking out at the sunrise with the shadow on his back. So he's looking forward to the light. To all of us, he's in shadow. It's a very nice little visual, quite a sad moment. This week, we have quite that slower pace for the first half of this episode. It's a little bit emotional too. So again, I think somebody messaged me saying they like Kiro a lot, so I really hope you're okay watching this sequence. But again, I think you're a manga reader, so you knew this was coming. But again, it still must be quite painful knowing that you've got to go relive the death, but in colour and in animated form. As Siripa's questions now, why did Wilk have to die? Did he steal the gold? And then that's when Sugimoto finally relays Wilk's words. We've got a whole season later, we're finally getting that loop back. Wilk didn't kill the Ainu, and that's exactly what Wilk said before he was headshot. This knowing that Wilk didn't kill the Ainu does seem to relieve Asirpa, and she says, where is Sophia? However, we see that Tsukizuma is now in danger. He's taken on quite a bit of a bash. To be fair, the three of them are a mess of wounds. All three of them look awful. So it's quite difficult because obviously YouTube doesn't like bean juice, and a lot of these sequences, the characters are just covered in blood. So it's very difficult having to just linger on face shots mainly. Sugimoto ends up spying Svetlana. Is also where we see Asirpa taking off towards Svetlana because I think she thinks that Sophia's over there. And ignoring the fact that the three are telling her about the deal that they made with Sugimoto, Sugimoto also runs away, tossing Ogata to the floor. They end up finding my boy. My boy Ganmite is back. And if you've only just joined me halfway through and don't know who the hell Ganmite is, Ganzok, I think his name is, he's voiced by All Might from My Hero Academia. So I started calling him Ganmite because I'm a huge All Might fan. I love weak All Might for some reason. It's my thing. I like a character who essentially feels more human, and he's lost a lot, so I really felt for that character. But seeing him in this and still being that upright morale booster, so it's quite nice. I suddenly forgot about how sad I was feeling with the death of Kira, and I was reminded that Ganmite is in my life. He is back. My boy is back. It's a nice little link to the cameo at the start of the season to have him return, and he does kind of return for a little bit of a purpose because he's going to take Svetlana with him. I also like the fact that Sugimoto just blanks him and he's like, oh, I didn't see anything, there's no one there. The team and Ganmite end up going back to Akko. And I love the fact that Ganmite is princess carrying Tsukizuma. And he tries to flirt with Tsukizuma, and it's just that blank face that I think Tsukizuma at a point wishing that he was the one who had died. It is our last farewell to Kiro. We say goodbye now. He's been a fantastic character to watch. I have too many questions still, so we have a lot of unanswered questions. It also means that 2 out of our 3, our little trio with Wilk, Kiro and Sophia, now the boys are dead. It is just Sophia left. So she's the only one now who has questions and can answer some of those questions about those guys and what was actually going on over there. But Asirpa seems confident that we will see Sophia again and she will come back for her. I also think she's going to come back. I think she's going to try and find Asirpa. As anything, it will be her last payment to Wilk. Sugimoto returns Asirpa's knife cover. And he says, let's go back to Hokkaido. So season 4 will take place back in Japan. Sophia says her goodbyes to Kiro now in our final little moment. She ends up leaving to join her men, but she returns Kiro's dagger on his grave. That bit might have been the sad little moment for me where we say a final goodbye to Kiro. Back at our Nivk village in Akko, Asirpa shows us what this season has done for her. Asirpa remarks that these people are a little bit different, but they're also a little bit the same. And she would never have realised this if she had not left and she had not gone on her journey. This journey, this entire, if anything, I can call it an arc, can't I? This arc seems to be more about Asirpa discovering herself, discovering the world, having her eyes opened and eventually developing as a character. Because Asirpa has really grown from season 1, and obviously I've got my friend who's watching the first season, and occasionally I'll get screenshots, and just seeing season 1 screenshots compared to where we are now is you start to realize how much has changed in all that time and what the characters have gone through. The team finally start to recover. We see Tanigaki and Koito pondering over Ogata and his odd allegiance to Kiro. Always the one thing that always bothered me, because I didn't think he really had any interest in the ethnic minority. So obviously Kiro's big thing was trying to get their independence. Ogata really, that wasn't really his thing. And obviously he did say he just wanted some gold, but was that really all it was? I'm glad that we're gonna actually get this character back at some point. I know I'm a bit biased just because I love Sudaken, but he's just so fascinating. He really is just a fascinating character. Sugimoto hopes it really was just for the gold because it will make it easier to kill him, and he still wants his revenge. Ganmai, best babysitter ever. Look how this guy is amazing. I'm actually quite sad to say goodbye to this guy as well. Tsukizuma now tells Svetlana that he understands her desire to leave. If you follow Ganmite, you can go and see Russia, go see the city, but just write home and he will deliver it himself. A nice little touch. I like Tsukizuma. He says that will allow her parents to just move forward knowing that she is alive, where she promises she will, and then she leaves with Ganmite, my boy. She promises that she's going to make it big in the city for their sake, and we get a team Gan-Lana. I'm going to call them Gan-Lana. Oh my goodness, these two together. They go on an adventure together, and guys, Hands up if you want to see the spin-off series of these two, because I do. I would love to see what these guys get up to. But that is goodbye to those guys now. We're starting to do some wrap-ups, getting some of our storylines wrapped up for this season. We are introduced to Moss, and this ends up lifting our boys' spirits, but more in particular, it lifts Koito's spirits. And after the stuff that happens to him this episode, I'm kind of glad we can see a happy Koito for a moment, where he recalls his father, who also liked Moss, and he kind of looks like Captain Birdseye. I don't know if this is going to be I'll try and put a picture on the screen. We, in the UK, have things like fish fingers, and we have a guy who represents the brand called Captain Birdseye. He really looks like Captain Birdseye. We get a nice happy Koito. I'm happy because this was a mission success. They have achieved the goal of their mission. It is the power of the simp. Tsukizuma then reminds Koito that it's not just your father who's going to be proud of you. Leaky Brain also will be proud of you too. And that face. This is the face I want to protect. Koito's face, knowing that he's going to see his boy again. And just how happy Koito gets. He ends up just slapping him in the face with some mosu and leaving it on his face. And you just see Tsukizuma trying to eat it, but because he's not really got the use of his hands, he can't eat it. So you just kind of sat there with Tsukizuma just kind of going, I need this, I need this. We are introduced a healing plant, which is called white mugwort. I think we get mugwort in the UK. And another little thing that Golden Kamuy does, it just teaches you so many little bits that I learn a lot from this anime. This anime teaches me things. And we know that this herb is used as a dressing. Then we are introduced to a bit of a dilemma. And this is the twist. This is our twist coming up. That herbs alone will not heal Ogata. And Ogata actually might die before Sugimoto gets to take his revenge. He needs the doctor. But the soldiers are here illegally, so we can't exactly just bring in a doctor. We also see Koito just going, don't worry about it, it's just Ogata. And that is also when we also know that Tsukizuma needs a doctor too. And this next sequence, Sugimoto just blowing it. So we go and see the doctor. Enanoka speaks some Russian, trying to talk to the doctor and explain the situation. And then Sugimoto full on, not realizing that he can be heard. And I like the fact that he is dressed as a Nivk. It looks good on him. He just full on speaks Japanese in front of the guy, and I'm like just sat there going, wait, why are you speaking? And it's just a planned bust because the doctor actually recognizes the language, and we even know that he fought in the Russian war, which is bad because he fought on the Russian side. So it becomes quite tense. Is he gonna want to help the people he was actually fighting against? Although I don't know where this came from, but somebody once said that doctors, no matter what side of the fight they're on, they will always try and save a life. Even if it is technically the enemy, they will try. Hippocratic oath that most doctors take. That's more European. I don't know if the Hippocratic oath is still a thing for Japan. It might be. The scene starts to play out a little bit nervous, and I've got a few questions about what actually happens, which I'll maybe just ponder. I don't think I want the answers because it might spoil a few things. So he ends up working out that they are indeed Japanese. They end up bringing him to the camp anyway, but it ends up being bad because Ogata needs surgery and he also needs a cleaner environment for them to operate upon. The doctor ends up being really insistent, and it's just how insistent this guy is about trying to get these guys to go to the hospital and save him. Then we get to see evil Sugimoto. We've seen Zombie Moto this season. We get to see a very different side of Sugimoto where his eyes kind of start to glow and he says, that's okay. I've got questions for Ogata. He can't die yet. Doctor promises a little guarantee that I won't turn you over because it's going to be a waste of my hard work. I don't know. I was really worried. I was like, can we actually trust this guy? Sugimoto says that he's basically saving a Siruput, not Ogata. And also he does say that he doesn't believe that Ogata will simply just recover and tell him anything. However, this is where the twist starts to happen. The surgery doesn't go well and Ogata's vitals start to drop. We are told that Ogata won't last till morning. We know this isn't the case. It just makes me wonder a few things. And it's more we see Asiruppa's face as she starts to realise that Ogata is going to die. We see Sugimoto running ahead and he kind of shuts the door behind him. And yeah, he was going to kill Ogata. Hands down, he was going to go in and just kill him and then be like, oh no, he didn't survive or something. But this is the twist for season 3. The twist ending is right here. Ogata has tricked everybody. But this is what I've got a few issues. Like, did the doctor actually lie about Ogata's falling vitals? or did Ogata somehow think, I know you can technically slow your heart rate down. Some people have the ability, I don't recommend you guys do it, to control their breathing, slow their heart rate right down. Maybe Ogata did that. I mean, we did see him in the snow. So he basically sat there not producing any breath, but he sat eating ice all night and he was able to control himself and push his body to the brink. Maybe it's that. It's really odd that the doctor came out and said, oh yeah, he's going to die, he won't make the next morning. Ogata was able to pretty much jump off the table and trick everybody in this next twist. I mean, I'm glad he does, because it's going to make season 4 even more exciting, knowing that he could be around the corner. So Ogata has apparently escaped and he's left the window open, and everybody believes that he's ran out the window, even though that's not technically what's happened. Where Ogata has lived. Ogata is once more causing some trouble, here to shake things up once again, reminding us why he is such an interesting character to watch. He tricked Sugimoto. Ogata is still in a room, but he tricks Sugimoto and he grabs a Sirpa and they go start hunting him down. But I think the guys even say, make sure he is dead. Ogata then, breaking everybody's brains, speaks full-on Russian to the doctor and instructs him to knock out Kiro to save the nurse. This is our twist ending. This is why I love Golden Kamuy, because when you think it's just going to be, that's it, us going back. No, we've got to have a shake-up before the end. Shiraishi, being the complete idiot he is, thinks that his footsteps are Ogata's, but no, Shiraishi, it's just you. Koito, again, I feel so bad. He takes the rough end of the stick for this entire episode. This is when I felt like I was going to cry, because I thought Koito was going to be our second death. He really does like to shake up the plot, doesn't he? But it's actually thanks to Shiraishi being an idiot, we do see that Ogata can't shoot, because it will alert everybody to know where he is. Ogata calls Koito a rich fool, but ends up knocking him out with his foot instead. And he doesn't shoot him, so he can't shoot him, because it will simply, and everyone will know where he is. He will suddenly be dead. I initially went, oh, maybe he's being nice. No. He would kill Koito if he had the chance, but he needs to escape. He can't basically kill him, or everyone will be on his location and he will definitely die. Ogata flees on horseback, where Sugimoto is not headshot Ogata. He tries to hit the horse, so because he's trying not to hit Ogata, he ends up not actually being able to aim. So the horse is moving at quite a bit of speed and he's unable to hit it. If he actually had tried hitting the rider, who doesn't really, and the fact that he's just kind of hanging out on the top going, woohoo, I'm living, he might have actually succeeded if he had actually tried to shoot to kill. Ogata confirmed, escaping into season 4 he goes. That is another wrap up. Another character is now out, gone. Koito is alive, so we confirm Koito alive at the end as well. Sugimoto's, that face. This face, guys. Come back when you're all better so I can kill you. That's going to be a reunion I'm still looking forward to, because I thought that was going to happen this episode. I thought there was going to be a death between those two. This entire season, I thought Ogata was going to die at the hands of Sugimoto. That's why he was quite high up in my list of deaths. But he didn't die. He is now confirmed alive for next season. Now we get our final sequence. Our team now heading back to Leaky Brain. Sugimoto even says it's safer than being with Hijikata, the old guy. He says that we're going to be teaming up with Leaky Brain. As Sirpa says that Wilk basically entrusted her with the gold, so she could work with Hijikata. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting little thing that I didn't actually kind of foresee happening if she kind of turns to his side. Because we've now technically got 2 groups trying to find the gold. 3 if you count Ogata, but we don't actually know what's going to go on with that route. So 2.5 groups. She asks Sugimoto, did Wilk tell you something? We know he did, because I even recalled this, and I did wonder if he was going to say anything. But Sugimoto lies to Asirpa and doesn't actually tell her that Wilk actually said was he trained Asirpa to fight as a guerrilla in the warfare, that she would lead the Ainu essentially in war. He chooses not to tell her this, which I don't know if she picked up on the fact that he was lying to her. She says finding the gold may lead to whoever killed the Ainu. And this is where we know that we've still got a lot of unanswered questions. Asirpa asks Sugimoto about his plans now. Are you going to be joining Leaky Brain? Sugimoto plans to cooperate with Leaky Brain in exchange for some gold. He also says that it's really the only way that he could think of to save her. That Leaky Brain now has all the skins, so he is now the closest person currently to having the gold. During this period, this little sequence, we get a flashback of the death of Wilk by Ogata and Kiro. Sugimoto does say that I'm not following their orders, but I need money, which confirms that Sugimoto and Asirpa are still, for now, on the same path. Our ED starts to play. We see a nice little visual of the glitter between the two, saying that they're renewing their contract as partners together now into season 4. So last season I felt sad because we had the two not together, they were apart. They are finally reunited. They're going to go hand in hand hopefully into season 4, and they are heading back to Hokkaido. On the way back, our final line, voiced by Sugimoto, he says that he may need the gold, but there is now something else just as important to him. We get a little visual of a Sirpa below him, where he says, I plan to find the gold and end everything and free her from the war. Which is his actual motives, his proper nice little motives. And that is when our end plays. It has been one hell of a season. I've got some little notes just per characters to kind of write a few little things down. So, as I said, I feel like this arc was all about Asuripa gaining a development. So it was very important to Asuripa because she developed as a character. She started to learn more about her father. She learned more about her people, the people of the different minorities around the area. Let's talk about Tanigaki, and hopefully we're going to see an Inkime and Bona reunion. That's what I've got hopefully planned for those guys. Also, it's very nice to see the team reunite. So I feel like we finally achieved something in this season. So this season has achieved a positive outcome. Will Asuripa help Leaky Brain? Or is Hijikata going to be an important player next season? Also, talking about Leaky Brain, he is definitely confirmed to be a very big key player in season 4. So I hope you guys are excited because I know a lot of you guys really like that character. Really looking forward to the Koito Leaky Brain reunion next season. I'm excited to see those two reunite and how those two are going to act. Koito loves Leaky Brain. I really want to see that section. Nikaido as well. You're going to be so happy to see Sugimoto alive, aren't you? No? No, what do you mean no? That's going to be fun, seeing some of those old characters come back. So obviously, we saw Leaky Brain very briefly, we saw Nikaido briefly, but Hijikata appeared for one episode as well. We're going to be seeing all these guys, these main players come back for season 4. Let's talk about the two main bits. The major death of Kiro and taking those secrets to his grave. Sophia, I definitely think she's going to come back. I think Sophia is now a very key player. We need her to come back and answer the questions we have about Wilk. She may also know something about what happened between Kiro and Wilk. With Kiro dying this season, so it's a little shock to see him go out with so much information. I guess I felt like he had a bit of plot armor because he was still key, but Golden Kamuy shows us that no one is safe. Let's talk about Ogata quickly because I love the character. I think he's fascinating. I'm about 80% that he's going to come back. He's definitely going to come back at some point. And he definitely knows some stuff. I've got a lot of questions that I want that guy to answer. Ogata currently for season 4 will be in Russia. Very interesting to see how he gets back or if he gets back. Just so many questions like, why is he working with Kiro? What is he actually trying to achieve? Is he really just after a little bit of gold because he says he wants some gold, not enough to start a war? And the fact that we hear Ogata speak Russian. We do know that his dad is an important player, so maybe just that is why he knows Russian. Maybe he picked it up from Surumi. Maybe as well, I'm completely blanking that he probably already knows Russian. I basically back-to-back crunched the last 2 seasons. There's a lot of things that probably didn't sit in my head as much as they should have. And mark my words, after I've had a bit of a break this season, I will be going back to rewatch all 3 of them back-to-back, so things make a lot more sense. Also, I've now got 2 years before season 4 comes out, so plenty of time to refresh my brain on what's going on. I am actually quite happy that he's alive because he's going to help shake the plot up. And it also will be a little bit tense thinking that at any point our characters still can die via headshot. Going to be interesting to see if he comes back because I still feel like he might have a bit of a role to play, but he might be a very minor character from now on. I believe that season 4 is going to be focusing in on Leaky Brain versus Hijikata's group, and we're going to see if Asuripa can somehow lead us to the gold. Is she going to lead Leaky Brain to the gold is the question. Is she actually going to help Leaky Brain achieve his goals to find the gold? So it's going to be very interesting to see where the team is going to go now and what's going to happen to everybody once we get back to Hokkaido. I've really enjoyed this season. We've had some really fun moments. There's been some really nice fun comedy, as always. Some very fun moments like the Banya sequence. The bit with the circus, I really like that. It was quite nice to get the comic relief going for both groups. With Golden Kamuy, they're able to build off each of the characters' chemistries quite nicely. So it doesn't matter who's in what group. They will always make them bounce off each other and there will always be a comic relief going on there, but they'll be able to make it comic with the way they bounce off each other. My top three for being together is technically my trio. It's Sugimoto and Shiraishi are fantastic together, and I like having a Syrup there just to shake things up and them to bully her about Miso. They've reunited their back. I have oddly actually enjoyed seeing Koito interacting with the guys and having Tanigaki and Tsukizuma there. I feel closer to people like Koito and Tsukizuma, so it will be sad if they just go back to playing minor roles next season, but hopefully we get to follow our characters that we are really building backgrounds for. I think that's what I want to praise Golden Kamuy for doing most. All the characters, no matter how minor they are, they all have a personality, a background. They take time to really develop all their characters, which is why even just the bad guys, the antagonists, all feel real people. They all feel like a whole person. So when Kiro went down and he died, even though he's not my favourite, I still felt sad because I know about this character. I know stuff about him. I followed him for 2 seasons. So it was sad to actually say goodbye officially to one of our characters. He's not going to be returning next season. He might come back in some of flashbacks. I really do love Golden Kamuy. I won't lie, if you have watched my winter video and you know that I put Golden Kamuy didn't take the crown. That's just a spoiler for that video. But after last week's episode, I started regretting a few things. I almost wish I could hoik it up, even just by one position. I really love Golden Kamuy, and you guys know that it made its way onto my top 10 anime of all time. My overall score for this season, I'm giving it an 8.5 because I really loved it to bits. There were a few bits because of the pacing. I feel like it was quite fast paced, and I think that we could have done with bits of information here and there. But I know with Golden Kamuy that I have my faith that they're definitely going to go back and give me that information. 2 major episodes for me were that twist. They basically played us and then actually revealed that it was actually Tsurumi who was actually the character backstory we were getting. So that episode was absolutely mind-blowing. Loved that episode and last week's episode. They are my 2 favourite episodes of this season. Really liked them. They are just ace. Those episodes alone I'd probably give 10s because I love those episodes. They were great. So hats off because it's the last time I get to talk about it. Absolutely loved Sniper versus Sniper, Ogata versus Vasily. That's another episode I'd probably give a 9 because of the tension, how they built it up. And Golden Kamuy, everybody now feels like they're at risk. At that point, I felt worried for Ogata because Vasily was shown to be an equally as good sniper as Ogata is. So I did naturally have a worry, and it was just fascinating to see the two stalking each other. Those are my 3 favourite episodes this season, and thank you guys so much. I think this is the final time I get to talk about Golden Kamuy on this channel now for quite some time, presumably. I will be so happy if they greenlight season 4. I really hope we get it, and I hope that we, even if it is at least 2 years, that they do confirm it soon, because it's going to be sad having that kind of not knowing that we're going to see more from them. I love this season, guys. I really do. I thank you guys now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in weekly. Thank you for also being forgiving that I do make a few mistakes here and there. Thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the comments, the likes, the support, everything. I really hope that I get to see some of you guys again, talk to you guys again in the future about Golden Kamuy, or next season about a different anime. So do check out that video because I am going to be doing 4 animes on the channel. I also plan to do some more content on other animes too, because I've seen over 700 titles of anime and there's so many gems out there I would love to talk about. I only recently got to binge watch ID Invaded and I fell in love with that anime. I really want to do some different formulas and do maybe even just overall reviews on animes that I recommend. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel to hopefully stay with me as I develop as a channel. Thank you, Golden Kamuy, and all the people behind Golden Kamuy. You have been, once again, absolutely stunning to watch. I've had so much fun. Thank you, guys. I really hope you have a great Christmas, the best that you can have with these times being as they are. And I hope that your 2021 brings you so much more cool anime and lots of things to look forward to. So, one last time, guys, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.